on a cold, gloomy afternoon, which is very much the case in London, if you have to ask me what are the things that makes me really nice and comfy, it would be sitting with a cup of chai with my cookbook, or having something that is one of those comfort meals. And I'm talking about putting everything in one plate or a bowl with a spoon, and you're just scraping out each and every residue out of the plate, or you're just licking the bowl. For me, that could be a curry, it could be soup, it could be stew, and the list goes on. There's nothing that screams comfort food like the way dal, rice, and a little bit of pickle onto the side, and if you're a bit naughty, then you fry papad. That to me is the ultimate comfort food. That is a staple food that every Indian household has, dal and rice. But for me, when it comes to all the lentil or the dals that we make, I would say the ultimate would be Dal Makhani, known also as Dal Bukhara or Kali Dal. My mom used to make this so many times, and that used to be our favorite. In a restaurant, they cook for hours and hours, and you always have somebody stirring the dal till it's like nice and thick and creamy. Now we don't have much time, and I'm just going to show you my version of this dal. Now I have to admit, there's a lot of cream and butter going into it, but Dal Makhani, Makhani means butter, and you cannot have this dal without the butter. And it's a bit of a high maintenance, and it's a little tedious than your normal dal, which you just cook and that's it. You put a tadka and that's about it. This dal might take a little bit of time, but trust me, this is one of those dishes that you make when you are inviting people at home and you really want to impress them. Because I can promise you, after they taste this dish, there's going to be a lot of compliments knocking on your door. So I'm going to show you my version of Dal Makhani. Let's get started. I soaked these, black urad dal in water, and I left it overnight, so it has to be there for about 8 hours. And I am just going to put that in the pressure cooker. And I'm going to, get this dal, cooked for at least about 20 minutes. So that would be about 3 whistles. I'm going to put a little bit of hing, that is asafoetida. I'm going to put some salt. So this dal, originally you put red kidney beans, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to close the pressure cooker and cook this for about 3 whistles. So once it has been pressure cooked, you will see that it has turned into, it's broken down into something very thick. And it is as soft, it just breaks down when you touch it. So this is just the right way I want, the black urad dal to break down to. Meantime, I'm going to take, 4 tomatoes, which I have peeled them by putting them into hot boiling water, and I've just taken their skin out, and this is going to be the puree. I am not going to add any water to it because I want the puree to be really thick. And on top of this, I'm also going to add a bit of the tomato extract. I'm going to be adding some oil. You can also add desi ghee, but I'm going to be adding a lot of butter into Dal Makhani. And when the oil is hot, I'm just going to put some lots of jeera, that is cumin seed. When this splutters, usually people add, whole garam masala, your bay leaf and your cardamom and, all of that. But I like to always add powder because I don't like to bite into my spices. So I have fresh garam masala that my mother always makes for me. So that mix I'm going to put towards the end. When that splutters, you can add your ginger garlic paste. And make sure that the ginger garlic paste that you use for this is nice and fresh. And then add your tomato puree. But what I love to also do, just for the color, I love to add a little bit of the tomato concentrate as well. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of the tomato concentrate. That should do. This is just for the color. And let that cook. Let that simmer for almost 2 minutes or so. If you want, you can add turmeric as well, but I am not going to add that. Usually you can add even onions in this. I've seen people like, you know, put onions. I don't add onions at all. I think this is fine. And I'm just going to keep simmering and stirring this for about, I would say, 5 minutes slowly, so that it comes a little more thicker and, you know, the color changes. Now it's time for me to add my red chili powder. And for Dal Makhani, I like it a little bit, I mean, not too spicy. Dal Makhani, Dal Bukhara, they are never spicy, but I'm just adding a teaspoon and a half of the red chili powder. Now add 1 teaspoon of coriander powder. Add a little salt. I'm adding just a little bit right now because towards the end you can definitely add salt to taste. So let's cover this because tomatoes have a tendency to splutter in oil. So I'm just covering it for 1 minute till it thickens, the puree thickens. Alrighty, now that the tomato puree is really nicely cooked, let's add our butter because you cannot have this without butter. And it's a lot of butter, guys. I'm talking about almost half a tub of butter that is going into it. This is the butter that goes into it. Let it melt slowly. So what I also like to do, I take the liquid from the dal, you know, whatever the dal liquid it is, and I add that. And I keep letting this cook properly till it's thickened. So let this come to a boil with the liquid from the from the dal that we just pressure cooked, and then I'm going to add the rest of the dal in this. I'm just going to gently cover it so that, you know, it just simmers away just for about 5 minutes before I add the dal. Okay, can you see it has come to a nice boil? Now I'm going to slowly add you know, the dal. Now I just add those lentils into the liquid because the lentils, because of the pressure cooker, it just reduces the time into half, and this is going to cook really quickly, guys. You just need to be a little observant with this because it's really important that it doesn't burn at the bottom. So I gently keep stirring it and I close the lid and let it simmer for about 5 minutes, but I obviously keep on checking, making sure that it doesn't burn at the sides. Once I get the consistency, I put fenugreek leaves into this dal mixture and I crush it in between my palms so that it'll be a little more fragrant and it's finely powdered. I keep stirring that so that it just doesn't burn, and once it gets a little more creamier, I then add a teaspoon and a half of freshly powdered garam masala. I prefer the powder because it's more fragrant and I don't like biting into my spices, but you can definitely add, you know, whole spices. It's completely your choice. Now I add salt, but make sure that, you know, you apply salt to taste because you have added salt twice before. And I keep on crushing the lentils to the side of the pot like you can see, just to make it a little more thicker and creamier. Once I'm happy with how the texture of this dal is, I start adding my heavy cream. This just makes it much more richer, much more thicker, and the color changes, and that's exactly what I'm looking at. I can't even tell you how beautiful this dish is to taste. And this is one of those dishes that you don't make every day, but if you want to treat yourself and you want to be a little naughty, you know, you make this dish because it's really rich. Or if you really want to impress a guest, you know, serve this with steamed white rice, just drizzle it on top, pour the whole thing on top, and this is one of your comfort food, something that your soul will really thank you for. I usually make this dish and I'm a happy bunny having this comfortably sitting in the corner watching the rain just pour down on a gloomy day here in London. This is definitely my soul food. I hope you really enjoyed watching this, and for more such content, please do subscribe to my channel. To hit that little bell next to the subscription button so you will be notified every time I upload. I hope to see you in my next video. Until later, bye for now, guys.